I talk really quick and really loud. This is going to be the best. You've run like 5 or 6 of these sessions already. Is everybody tired? Do you need like a little energy boost? Because if you did, you came to the right place. This is going to be a lot of fun. Pietro and your buddy Ross, your partner Ross, thanks so much for teeing me up. I'm super excited to talk a little bit about the inbound revolution. And as Pietro said, my name is Dan Tyre. You can always get me at dtyre@hubspot.com, and thrilled to be delivering this content to how many people do we have on the webinar, Pietro?
So I saw that already in the room is about 400 people, and they are logging in.
All right. Tweet out your friends. Say this is going to be the best webinar in Poland and in Europe of the day, right? You should jump on. This guy is going to be funny. There's going to be great information. And can you do the poll? How many people are familiar with the inbound poll?
Yeah, so basically now the poll is on, so guys, please vote in the poll you can find on the chat.
Very good. And is anybody familiar with Brian Halligan, who's the CEO of HubSpot? He's my buddy. I've worked together with him for the last 15 years. Very excited because last week we were rated the number 9 company on Glassdoor, right behind Elon Musk and right ahead of Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. So Brian is a great guy, a great visionary, no ego whatsoever. Super, super excited about that. And then is anybody familiar with the Grateful Dead? Right? Pietro and I were talking about this. Can these guys put their answer in the chat pane? Can they chat to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So guys, do you know Grateful Dead? Maybe?
Yeah. That's Jerry Garcia, the lead guitar player. And across the world, they were instrumental in practicing inbound in the very first, in the 1960s and 70s. And I'll explain kind of the relationship between how you can scale your business and how a rock band grew in over 30 years, because there's a lot of commonalities. And the reason I put up this slide is because 4 weeks ago, they auctioned off Jerry Garcia's guitar. His guitar is called Wolf. I don't know anybody who had a guitar that has a nickname, but Jerry Garcia had a guitar by the name of nickname Wolf. And Brian Halligan bought it and gave all the money to charity. So super proud of him for doing that. All right, what's the answer to the poll question there, Pietro?
So basically, nearly 150% is familiar with inbound, and only 30% is not familiar, and just 10% are maybe.
All right. Okay. So that's great. Thank you for doing that. And do you guys like this slide? Do you guys get this slide? We were a little on the fence if we should put the slide in, because Pietro said he wasn't sure that people would understand the slide. It's kind of an English connotation. What's the crowd say, Pietro?
So the crowd is saying that they are not familiar with this.
Okay, all right. It's a pun. How do you say pun in Polish?
Really, I don't know.
These are terrible puns. All right, so I'll move to the next. How about this one? Mayan apocalypse. Do you guys get this one?
Yeah.
All right. That's an alpaca. An alpaca is like the weirdest looking animal. Are there alpacas in Poland?
Alpaca.
I know. Mayan alpaca lips. I just did this presentation in Costa Rica, and I used this slide, and I had a translator, and the translator told the joke, but no one laughed. So I made him do it over again, right? But the second time, I know. So I want to make sure I'm being funny for your audience. Put thumbs up if I'm being funny, or if you're shaking your head going, no, just get to the material, Tyre. We understand. All right. So my name is Dan Tyre. Super excited to be here. I'm employee number 6 at HubSpot. And I am a member and a pioneer in the inbound revolution. And I'm happy to share inbound marketing, inbound sales a little bit with you today. Over the last 11 years, I've been at HubSpot for almost 11 years. I've been a salesperson. I've been a marketer. I ran the international division. Pietro gave you my overview. And I've done 5 startups since 1983. My first startup grew to $1.5 billion and IPO'd and secondary. My second startup got bought out. My third startup went bankrupt, which taught me business planning and humility. My fourth startup got bought out by Microsoft, and my fifth startup is HubSpot. So HubSpot has now got 1,500 employees, as Pietro said, sold in 130 countries. And today I'm a mentor, I'm an advisor, I'm a blogger, I'm a speaker, I'm an angel investor, and my stated goal is try to do the most good for the universe. So when they asked me to do this webinar, I said, all right, I'm there. As someone who's been involved in business for the last 30, 40 years, I know I sound like your grandfather, but I've been involved in business for a long time. And in the last 10 years, there's been a fundamental change in the way business is conducted. There are tons of differences. And in reality, the first 30 years of my business career completely obsolete, right? The last 10 years is a significant change, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about that change and how you can leverage it to grow your business. All right. These are some of the companies that I support, right? So sometimes people think because I work for HubSpot with all these businesses, I can't relate to smaller companies, right? And these are examples of a handful of companies that I either advise or sit on the board of directors or sometimes I've invested in that are scaling very quickly. And this keeps me grounded. This is why I'm an authority on being able to help companies grow, help companies scale. And this is an example. I don't know if there's any Polish companies there, right? But many of them are global companies that work worldwide and have access to helping Polish entrepreneurs. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the future, right? Because Pietro and I were laughing a little bit because the future is today. You know how sometimes people say, let's talk about the future like 2020 or 2025. And I can give you tons of examples of why we live in the future today. First of all, Pietro, where are you today?
Krakow,
Okay,
Poland.
where am I? I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. All right. It sounds like you're sitting right across the desk from me, right? And we're speaking to 1,000 people all through Eastern Europe, right? They jumped on their computer. Boom. All of a sudden, we can spend 45 minutes talking about the inbound revolution with people scattered worldwide, right? Let me give you another example. Are you on Twitter? Pietro,
Yeah.
do you use Twitter? My nephew starts his coffee pot by tweeting to his coffee pot, right? He tweets in, I saw his Twitter feed. It says coffee, 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 at coffee, coffee, coffee. I go, what is that? He goes, that's the way I start my coffee in the morning. I go, that's insane. My buddy Sean Crimmins has luggage that follows him around like a dog, right? His luggage, like the luggage you put on a plane, right, has a USB port in it. And he has an app on his phone where as he's walking through an airport, he doesn't have to pull his luggage anymore. His luggage just follows him. Is that insane or what?
It's pretty insane.
That's the future. We live in the future. What were you and I just talking about? Yesterday, I took a driverless cab, right? I took an Uber that didn't have a driver. Has anybody in the webinar ever had a driverless car, been in a driverless car? So it's very, very interesting. When they pull up, there's two people in the car, but they're not driving. They sit in the front seat, but they never touch the steering wheel, right? And then you sit in the back and you go, this is amazing, right? And then we were just talking about in Dubai, right? In Dubai, you can now take a drone, like Star Wars. You get out of the airport, right? And you get in a plane as long as you're not more than 350 pounds. I think there's a poundage limit. Your luggage and the human being can't be more than 350 pounds. And you put your luggage in the back, and without a pilot, it hovers 8 feet above the ground and it flies you to your hotel. Right? So we live in the future today, right? And how that relates to business is pretty interesting, right? It is the hardest time ever to be a business owner. It's the best time ever to be a business owner. And Pietro, can you launch that poll about the roles people have so that I can adjust the information to our audience?
Yeah, this is basically happening. So I see that many people are voting now.
Nice, nice, nice. You're the best poll taker. You did a good job on my intro too. I ought to take you on the road with me. All right. So HubSpot and Inbound is all about helping companies grow, right? We like small companies, we like medium-sized companies, we like large companies, and we know that it's hard. And there's differences. It's what I said. The reason I speak worldwide on the inbound revolution. And over the last 10 years, there's been a fundamental change in the way in which people buy. And we're going to talk about the difference between inbound and what we call traditional or outbound marketing and sales, or the philosophy of inbound. All right, what are our poll results say?
So basically, this is that marketing is on the first place. So almost more than half of the attendees are from marketing departments. 30% are from sales departments, and 20% are executives.
All right, very, very good. So all of those roles, first of all, it's a great time to be a marketer. If you're one of the 50% of marketers, you picked the right profession, right? Marketers are going to make a lot of money. How do you say money in Polish?
Pieniądze.
Yeah, you're going to make a lot of pieniądze over the next 10 years because it's a great time to be a marketer. People need marketing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why they need marketing, right? It is arguable that marketing is more important than sales. And I know there's 30% of salespeople on the call, and they're like, what? What did you just say? Right? And sales is still important, but there's changes in the way that works. There's changes in the way companies scale. There's changes based on the last 10 years that we're going to talk about today. All right, let's just do another quick poll that's on the screen. Put in the chat pane and tell Pietro what you think is the most trusted profession throughout the world. This is a North American poll, but it works everywhere. What do you think is the most trusted profession? And Pietro, let me know when you get some answers before I make this a build slide. Right? Usually people say doctors. Sometimes they say teachers, college professors.
So I see one answer for teacher.
Yep.
Lawyer.
Right. Very, very good. Doctors
Fireman.
are usually up there. Very, very good. Fireman. Ooh, I like that. That's the number one kind of thing. And where do you think sales and marketing is on that list? Where do you think sales and marketing falls on that list? All right. You think it's high or you think it's low? Quick. You got to move quick. Pietro's got a lot of poll questions, right? He's got to be able to like move. We only got 45, 50 minutes.
So I think, and people think that sales and marketers on the low of their.
Oh yeah, baby. This is a smart crowd. You look at this. The number one trusted is firefighter. So I owe a breakfast sandwich to whoever said that. Number two is teacher, doctor, nurse. But look where salesperson is, right? 1%. It's not low. It's in the basement. Oh my goodness. People do not trust salespeople. But it's even worse. For the 50% of the people who are marketers, look at that. 0, right? People trust their barista, right? The people who serve them coffee more than they trust a salesperson or a marketer. Is that insane or what? Right? You pay $4 for a coffee. You trust your coffee person more than a salesperson or marketer. So we obviously have a trust issue that we have to build. All right. So every business has a choice. Every business in 2017 has a choice. And that is, right, the key to every business is growth. Is there any either executive, salespeople, marketers that don't want to grow in 2017 and 2018, right? And it's a little different all over the world, but nearly all the entrepreneurs I talk to, they all want to grow. And is there anybody, put in the chat pane if you say, no, I don't want to grow. You'll be in the minority. Most people want to grow. And today you have a choice, right? In 1990, you didn't have a choice. You had to use outbound. Today you have a choice, and that is inbound. And I'm going to explain what inbound is in a second. Outbound or traditional marketing is cold calling. It's buying a list and sending out emails, the same email to everybody. It's interruptive ads and it's seller centric. That means the salesperson is in control. That is what we've done for the last 50 years. And I did that quite proudly up until 2007, right? The outbound strategy was the way to do it. And just put in the chat pane and tell us if anybody is cold calling or buying lists and practicing outbound today. Right. And the speeches worldwide we give, there's usually a small percentage of people who are doing it today. What inbound is creating content. It's being helpful. It's posting that content on your website. It's optimizing that content for personas. It's creating free ways of helping people. And the big difference between outbound and inbound is that inbound is buyer centric. Right? The biggest change in my 43-year business career is that it used to be the salesperson was in control. When you wanted to scale your business, right, you would hire a vice president of sales like me, and I would go out and I would hire field salespeople. There'd be one in the UK, one in France, one in Poland. There'd be one in the Nordic regions, a couple in the United States. And those salespeople would do 95% of the new business development. Right? If you wanted more sales, you hired more salespeople, right? But that is not the way that we do it today. Pietro, is there anybody in the chat pane who's still doing cold calling and interruptive ads and things like that?
Just one person speak about that, and
yeah,
this is only one.
I know. So 1 out of 700. That's not a big percentage. And I bet you that one person is looking for other options. The reason is that outbound converts at a very small percentage. It's less than 2%, right? And inbound is the new aesthetic. Inbound makes the buyer in control, right? And we're going to show salespeople how you play into this advantage, right? So there's some significant differences in business today than there was in the turn of the century, right? First of all, we used to work like from a 9 to 5. Right. And I know you're smiling and rolling your eyes, Pietro, and saying you sound like my grandfather. But you used to actually go to an office. People had an office and they would work. They get in the office at 8:55 and they'd leave at 5 o'clock. All right. Does that sound like you today? Is that what you do, Pietro? Do you work from 9 to 5?
No.
No. When do you work?
When I need to work.
All the time. You are all the time. Exactly. Right. And so now we don't even have offices. Right? I'm all over the world, right? I work out of co-working spaces. I work in the airport. I work when I get to one of HubSpot's facilities, hotel, right? And everybody's like that. Number 2, this slide shows that there's a lot more confusion in the marketplace today, right? There's lots of all kinds of input. Right? Everybody has something to say about everything else, right? And there's all of this kind of confusion that it makes it harder, right? And it leads to more frustration. Have you noticed that more? We can't make this a poll question because I didn't give you in advance. But would you say people are more or less frustrated in 2017 than they've been even in the last 10 years? Right? They're frustrated because they've got so much to do. They're frustrated because they have this stuff going on. They're frustrated because things are happening. And so if your clients or customers or prospects are frustrated, that's not a good thing. And then put in the quickly ask people, do you think there's more competition or less competition? Put in the chat pane saying, yes, there's more competition or less competition. And you got to be my statistician on this one, big guy. Tell me if people think there's more competition or less competition than there was, let's say, 5 years ago. And I use the beer bottles because I know in Poland, the beer is unbelievable, right? How many craft beer breweries are there in Poland?
I don't know. I drink about 50 kinds of that.
See that? 50 kinds. There's all this ones. And you like new ones, and sometimes you try new ones. And some beer is the perfect example, right? 5 years ago, do you think there were 50 types of beer in Poland? There was probably 3. Now there's probably 3,000, right? And they're more popping up all the time. So in the context of all that noise, in the context of frustrating users, in the context of more competition, now you have a choice. And the choice is, how are you going to attract customers, right? What was the answer to the yes competition, no competition?
So there is more competition.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Otherwise. Exactly. Eastern Europe, Poland, same thing as the rest of the world. All right. So now you got to do something. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to do it the old way, the same old way, about 1%, or you're going to try a new way. And the new way is what we call inbound, right? So I'm going to take 10 minutes. I'm going to explain the inbound methodology. Because if you want to create good client relationships, when I speak worldwide, most people say, no. What I'm really trying to do, Tyre, is what I want to get is relationships. I want the type of customer that will keep coming back and is not quite so price sensitive, but is willing to invest in the partnership. And just ask in the chat pane, is that what people want? They want more of those relationships. So inbound is the new way of doing that. What inbound is first of all, it's a philosophy, right, of helping people. Second of all, it's a way of doing business. It's a holistic, data-driven approach that takes people who have no idea who you are and turns them into those deep relationships. It's also a verb. You have to practice inbound, right? Because inbound is all about helping people, right? And this is the way you do it. So I know some people are familiar with inbound, right? When you get the document, you can see this, or you can just Google inbound methodology HubSpot, and you will see the 4 phases of inbound. The first one is attract. And today you want to attract a certain type of person, right? You don't want to sell to everybody. In the old days, you wanted to sell to everybody no matter what. Today, you want to define the person that you're selling to what we call good fit customers, right? We call that identify. And you want to identify the right customers that are the best fit for you. Now, sometimes that's a little scary for entrepreneurs. They go, Tyre, I want to sell to everybody. And reality is you want to sell only to people that are going to be good fit customers. The reason is if they buy your product and they're not a good fit customer, what's going to happen? Are they going to complain to your boss? Probably. Are they going to complain to more than your boss? Absolutely. The next thing you know, they're all over Twitter, Instagram, Facebook saying, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. That's the frustration I was talking about. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create your personas. And a persona is a fictional character that represents your best fit customer. You can have 3 to 5 personas. If you want a free tool that will help you create personas, just Google make my persona HubSpot, right? And there's a free tool that will come up and it will help you do that, right? You want to understand what your persona is all about. You want to understand if they're male or female. You want to understand if they're baby boomer or millennial. You want to understand if they're online or offline. You want to understand all these things about them. And then you want to start to blog. Pietro, put in the chat pane how many people are blogging. Put yes blog or no blog. And the reason why you're blogging is it's super important. The way Google references websites, not only in Eastern Europe, but all over the world, is inbound links. And you want to make sure that you're blogging, number one, to educate your target personas. Number 2, that you're providing free content so that people get to know you. Number 3, so that you can get those inbound links. You want to blog at least once a week, right? How many people are blogging in the audience?
I think that most of them are not blogging. So
okay,
some
so
of them
blogging is important. And if you say, I can't blog, right, we'll teach you how to blog, right? Blogging is just having this conversation. Blogging is what your salespeople or your executives say when they take a customer to lunch. Blogging is helping people solve a problem. And we've got lots of free tools that will help you think of blog articles. And today it's not just writing it out, it's also vlogging. How do you say vlogging in Polish?
blogować.
I love it. All right. That is a video blog, right? And we want you to be in video. People love video. It's super important. We want you to make sure in your blog you're using certain keywords. And do people on the webinar understand what a keyword is? It's kind of what you put into Google. Put yes keywords or no keywords in the chat pane, right? So you're going to keep track of several hundred different keywords, right? Up to 1,000 different keywords with an emphasis on long tail keywords, right? So auto manufacturer is a keyword. Auto manufacturer, Poland, used car is a more complex combination, but could represent a much more qualified buyer. And then every time you blog, you're going to push things out through social media, social networking, and social bookmarking. You'll see I'm a big time blogger. I blog once a week. I have 30,000 people who follow my blog, right? Because I've doing it for a year and a half, right? And blogging is a great way of raising awareness so that people understand what you're doing. You can connect with me on Twitter. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, right? I'm at Dan Tyre on Twitter. I'm Dan Tyre1, executive at HubSpot on LinkedIn. I embrace all forms of social media. A day doesn't go by when people don't ping me on social media and say, tell me a little bit more about inbound marketing. And that is all designed to make your website the best salesperson in the company. The great thing about optimizing your website to attract your persona is you don't have to feed your website. You don't have to pay your website. And it has to be the core of your strategy. All right. Any interesting poll comments or chat comments, or can I move to the next phase?
So basically, some people just start blogging. So this is that, but
Woo!
nothing
Good job. Keep going. I want you to blog once a week.
And the second thing, there was 132 brewers in Poland.
132. You've only gone through 50 of them, Pietro. You still got like 75 you got to drink. All right, that's the
lot of work to do.
I know, you too. Now, quit delaying. No more excuses. Get to all 152 and let's go. I love it. See what happens? Somebody who's listening to the webinar, they jump on Google, boom, they get the list, and you've got the facts at your fingertips, right? That didn't happen in 2004. That didn't happen in 1990. The salesperson was in control, no longer. Now the buyer's in control. All right, so when people come to your website, what do you want them to do, Pietro? Ask that in the chat pane, and then you tell me. When people come to your website, what do you want them to do?
So basically, when they go in for my website, I want to just to look at the website, read the content, and sign up.
Oh, baby, sign up. Yes, you want them to convert. So to do that, you need forms, you need calls to action, and you need landing pages, right? The more calls to action. A call to action is just a button. Everybody put in the chat pane whether you have a contact us form. Contact us. How do you say that in Polish, Pietro?
Formularz kontaktowy.
Yes, you have that, but that's not about the customer. That's about you, right? What you want is a call to action that says 30-minute consultation with an expert on sales. 30-minute consultation, somebody can help you with a purchase. 30-minute consultation to help at no charge. Right? And then people come to your website, they're going to see that free content that you were talking about. They're going to see that call to action. They're going to come back multiple times. Only 2% of the people who come to your website the first time are going to drop their contact information. It's more likely that you draw them back multiple times. If they come back 3 or 4 times, then you're building that trust. And landing pages and call to action are key to those conversions, right? In 2017, it's all a science, and that science is critically important. You have to help people to be able to fill out the form. Now, once you have that person who fills out the form, now you have the opportunity to connect with them in a way in which you're helping them solve their problem. Doesn't mean you can spam them. Doesn't mean you can send them non-personalized emails, but you want to send that information in a way that it helps them solve their problem. Now, a quick question put in the chat pane. Do all you guys have a CRM? Or do you need a CRM? CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management Software. Translate that into Polish, Pietro.
Sorry?
Translate Customer Relationship Management Software.
Most of the Polish people just speak CRM, so this is that. But spoke zarządzanie zasobami kontaktowymi. But this is not so usually speaking.
And do people have a CRM, or do they need a CRM that will help them with the process? You could put
so some of the people I see that are already using HubSpot CRM. Some of them CRM look for the right solution, and some of them use other CRMs.
Okay, so we don't care if you use somebody else's CRM. That's great. We can integrate with it. If you use HubSpot CRM, thank you very much. We love you as a customer, right? If you don't have a CRM, once we get to the final slide. I'm moving a little slow, Pietro, so it's going to be hard for me to get to the final slide. But you asked me to put in free gifts, right? You want to give your audience free gifts, right? That's why they stayed till the 6th hour, so we can give them free stuff. Do people in Poland like free stuff?
Yes, anywhere else.
Everybody likes free stuff, so we're going to give you free stuff. All right, so your emails have to be personalized. You can't send the same email to everybody. You can't buy lists and spam people. Right? Number 1, it's not effective. Number 2, it's not good for your brand, right? You want to send specific email to the right people, right? And that's what we call moving people to start the relationship. And then finally, there's some advanced ways. When people come to your website, you have to show them different information if they're a customer already. right? So you can give them new offers. And if they're a prospect, you want to show them different calls to action in landing pages. And so there's something called smart content that provides that information in ways that it's super easy to give the right information to the right person at the right time. All right, so put in the chat pane if you have any questions on the inbound methodology. The goal of the inbound methodology is to allow the marketer to attract the right type of persona, to get them to find your website before they find your competitors, to drop their contact information so they become a lead, to move them through the process via workflows, emails, and sales engagement so that they become a more qualified lead, to close them, and then to start that relationship. Am I moving too quick or moving too slow, Pietro?
I think it's just fine.
Okay. And any questions that pop up in the chat pane? Do you need to interrupt me with something?
So basically, all comments are good, so there is no question for now.
Okay. If you interrupt me if there are, because I want to deliver what you guys want, right? And this is super exciting. Everybody has a choice. You can continue to do it the old way, right? Traditional marketing, right? The problem is it doesn't work, and I can prove it, right? Or you could do it this way. To do this, you need to have a good marketing person, right? And marketers in the audience, if you need help in explaining to your managers, because lots of sales guys don't quite get it. They don't quite think this way. And we'll talk about the next phase of inbound. The first is inbound marketing. By and large, HubSpot has a little over 30,000 customers worldwide now. And people love the fact that we give away all the stuff, right? There are 400 ebooks that I'm going to give to you when we get to the free gift slot, right? And the reason we give those to you is because, number one, we want to help. Number two, we know you need the help. Number three, if we give you stuff, right, then when you decide to take the next step, right, then you're going to think of HubSpot as an option. All right, so here's a good question. It used to be that salespeople did all the work. They connected with the lead right at the very beginning, right? So the marketer would create the brand, create the lead, and then hand it to the salesperson. And the salesperson would call the customer, qualify the customer on the connect call. Then they would do a product demo. Then they would answer objections. Then they would try to close the customer, and then they would be gone. They would give them to customer service person, and they never saw the customer again. But what this slide says is that today's buyer, a buyer in 2017, doesn't want to talk to a salesperson until after they've got to a short list, right? So most of them, 80%, only want to talk to a salesperson after they've educated themselves, after they've looked at the testimonials, after they've looked at the reviews. They want to maintain control. And most people, when they're buying today, only want to talk to a salesperson when they move to the consideration stage of the purchase. So this is why marketing becomes super important. Because if you're not getting people to come to your website, Pietro, where are they going if they don't come to your website?
To the competitors.
Ooh, how do you feel about that?
Not so happy.
Why?
Because they are not staying on my website.
Exactly. And if you want to get the leads, I've been doing this for 10 years. No one's ever said this is a stupid idea. I don't want to get found for people who are looking for my stuff on the internet, on social media, and on Google search. They say, of course I want those leads. I'm going, well, you can't just sit here. It's 2017. There's people who've been doing this for 10 years who are optimizing their website, who are blogging, who are putting this calls to action, who are working on Facebook, Instagram, social media, all this kind of stuff. You got to get moving, right? And today it's truly a global economy, right? We just talked about the fact that we're educating people 8,000 miles away. So super exciting. So at its core, go ahead.
I just have two questions. One from Vicky. So how can inbound marketing relate to social media?
Yeah, very good. So inbound marketing, social media is a subset of it. So you're going to create the content on your website. And then every time you create either a blog article or an ebook or a white paper or a video, you send it through Facebook for Business, you send it through Snapchat, you send it through WhatsApp, you send it through Twitter, you send it through Instagram, right? Because people love, that's how they find stuff, right? A day doesn't go by on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Vicky. You'll see. I've got 10,000 folks, and people say, tell me a little bit more about this inbound marketing. Tell me about how this works, right? And social media is the way you spread your personal brand worldwide to get more people to know about you. What's the second question, PHO?
So the second question is more tricky. So Agnieszka is asking how to attract a potential customer with uninteresting product.
Oh, yeah. We don't call it interesting product. We call it traditional industries, right? I did a presentation about how to attract good fit clients for boring industries. And the audience goes, we're not boring. We're just traditional. And I go, oh, I like that. I'm going to take that. And there's plenty of ways. In fact, I will send Pietro a blog article about the 74 fill in the blog article titles. I've got somebody who does portable toilets. How do you say portable toilets in Polish?
Ubikacja.
Very good. That's like a traditional industry, right? I've got people who are funeral homes, right? And you're not talking about the toilets or the funeral homes. What you're doing is you're talking about the problems that those customers have. If you're going to have a big party and you need, or a festival or something like that, you're going to write a blog article about how to have effective sanitation at your at your wedding or something like that. The three things that you need to remember when you're doing funeral arrangements for a loved one, how to balance between a cost-effective funeral and going all out or something like that. And when you look at this blog article, we'll teach you how to create that content for traditional industries. All right, those were two good questions. Very, very nice. Any other questions from the chat pane?
For now, not.
Okay, very good. So overall, inbound is about building relationships with your audience, providing them value, but way before they're ready to purchase your product, right? Way before they have a problem, you're going to say, okay, I'm here, right? I want to help, and I'm ready to help whenever you need my help, right? That's a very, very strong statement, and that builds that trust that we were talking about. All right, so in July of 2015, I had been a salesperson, a sales manager, a sales director at HubSpot for the last 7 years. And I said, essentially, this is a huge change, right? The buyer's now in control. As a salesperson, I said, no, I'm no longer in control. So I wrote this blog article called Always Be Closing is Dead, How to Always Be Helping in 2015. And you can find this blog article if you want to tweet it out. That's great. It's actually been repurposed 3 times. In 2016 and twice in 2017, because it's driven more than 1,000 HubSpot customers. It's exactly what I'm talking about. It's explaining how you've got to help people rather than sell to them, right? And for marketers, how do marketers feel about that? Do marketers like that? Do marketers like helping people before you sell to them? Put yes, I like to help, or no, I don't like to help. You can put it in Polish too, because Pietro understands how to read Polish. And I can't see the chat pane anyway.
Also, if you can write this in German, it also be fine.
I love it. How about Spanish? Do you use Spanish too?
No.
I don't think we have a big Spanish
Un poco español.
Oh, un poco. I like that. Very good. You're a good co-host, Pietro. I love it. All right. So this is seminal, and you can find this, all right, and you can tweet it out or you can post it through social media. It talks about the changes in sales. So for the first 8 years at our inbound, we talk mainly to marketers, right? Today, the 30% of the people who are salespeople, you listen up, right? Because I've got help for you too, right? This is the inbound sales methodology. And it's a lot harder to be a good salesperson in 2017 than it's ever been before. This is the inbound sales methodology. And it correlates the inbound marketing methodology as well. But it's equally as important. Number one, right? Salespeople have to identify the right good fit customers, right? If you have a customer who comes to you that's not a good fit, that you don't think is going to be effective for you, right? Don't sell them, right? Find somebody that is a better fit. I got a great story here in the United States of a refrigerator retailer, right? A store, and 2 bordering towns, Arlington and Belmont. And people will go into the Arlington store and they'll talk to the owner and they say, I want to buy a refrigerator. And the first question he'll ask is, well, where do you live? And if they live in Arlington, boom, he'll sell it to them. If they live in Belmont, he goes, you don't want to buy it here. You want to buy it at my competitor's refrigerator store in Belmont, which is only 20 miles away. And I'm listening to this guy. I'm going, why would you do that? He goes, oh, Dan, this is what happens. If they're in Belmont and they buy from me, it's not good because it's too far and I can't get there for the services, right? I just sent him to the Arlington refrigerator store, and he does the same thing for me. So we trade them back and forth because it's the best thing for the customer. And I'm going, oh, my goodness, if a refrigerator store people do that, right, it's time for all salespeople to understand it. All right. Salespeople have to identify their own leads, right? And you do that through social media, social networking, and social bookmarking. You find the right fit customer and you reach out, you pick up the phone. But when you call them, you don't qualify them on the phone. In the old days, a legacy salesperson would qualify somebody on the phone. Today, when you call them up, you smile, you say good morning in Polish, and then you say, how are you doing today with a big smile on your face? And then you ask them, how can I be of service? How can I help you? How can I assist you in solving your problem? Right? And that whole connect call is the first way in which you let people know that you're there. And then you tell your the people that you talk with, right? You say, I am here to help you. A salesperson today is more like a consultant, right? It's more like somebody who is helping people make the right decision rather than selling them a product. And if somebody's interested, they move from the awareness stage to the consideration stage. That means they have more than just an interest in talking with you. They are getting closer to a purchase. And in the old days, you did what's called a product demo. You would show up and they would demonstrate the product. That's not what we're going to do today, right? In today's inbound world, you show up and you ask a handful of questions, right? Like 20 minutes of questions. Like, what is the growth that you're going to get for this product? What are the plans that you want to do? How are you going to support it? Right? What are your challenges of buying and servicing this product? What is your timeline? All of these things, right? And I'm going to show you how to get really skilled about the inbound sales methodology as well. You have to work on a broader pipeline, right? Because it used to be a sales funnel. Ask the salespeople in the chat pane if they're familiar with the sales funnel. Right? You used to do all this stuff and people used to go right through PHR like it was a funnel. Today, it's like, it's a mishmash. It's a hairball. It's like a big, like scrum, right? Where people do all different things. They get excited and then they stop and they move into consideration and move back to identify, and they're in control so that they can do that. And finally, when they're in the decision stage, right, you have to know how to engage with them when in the right fashion. So a salesperson has to know when people open their emails. They have to know when people are back on the website. They have to know where they are in the sales process. They have to have all of the information that when people have come to their website, what emails they've opened, how long they've been, how many times they've been to the website. If you have that, we call it lead intelligence, then you have a huge competitive advantage. All right, so any questions in the chat pane so far?
So people just ask about more elaborate about sales funnels.
Okay. So sales funnel used to be you found somebody and you qualified them. And then if they were qualified, they were ready to buy, you moved them to the product demo. And if you showed them the product demo, you answered objections and then you brought them into the closing sequence. Today, what you do is you provide information. And you say you get to move at your own pace. I'm happy to help you, but you raise your hand and call me or email me when you're ready to go. And you give them information, right? In the old days, salespeople called all of the leads. Today, marketing owns the leads until people say, all right, I want to talk with a salesperson, which on the previous slide, you saw that it's 80% through the sales process. And then when they raise their hand, the salesperson has to know everything that's can't come before that. They have to know which pages they've looked at on the website. They have to know what emails they've looked at, which video they've looked at. And all of that is super important. Or else you have to start from ground zero. And people get really frustrated if you don't know everything that they've done previously. So we call that the sales funnel. It used to be like a funnel. Now it's a little bit more convoluted. All right. So people say, well, Tyre, how do I...
Question.
Go.
And the second question, Agnieszka has a pretty good question. How to initiate the link to the potential lead when they already have more competitive connections?
I know. That's why you got to be there first. That is a great question, because if you're not educating them, it's what Pietro said. Your competition is educating them. That's not good. you don't have a shot of helping them. Here, this is what buyers say they want. Number one, they want a salesperson that will listen to my needs. Put in the chat pane, salespeople, if you can listen to your customers' needs, right? It's not that hard, right? You just have to ask those questions. You can't come up and qualify on the Connect call. You have to listen to them, but that's not that hard. Number two, you have to provide relevant information. It's impossible to do that unless you know that they just started their search 3 days ago, or they've been on your website for the last 3 years, or they've opened up your email, right? Number three, you have to respond or give information in a timely fashion. Therefore, you have to automate information in a way that you can get to the top priority. And then finally, you have to explain how this product, it's not about buying the product. It's about solving the prospect's problem, right? It's about delivering what they need to be more successful. All right. So it's no longer sales. It's no longer marketing. It's schmarketing. How do you say schmarketing in Polish there, Pietro?
Schmarketing.
Very, very good. How do you say it in German?
This is tricky.
You can do it.
Marketing.
I like it. How do you say it in Spanish? It's the same all over, right? I invented the word in 2007, right? So I get to tell you how it's pronounced in foreign languages. So the ability for people to work sales and marketing aligned is great. The key for salespeople today is you've got to help, right? The great thing that I see in salespeople worldwide is everybody wants to help. How many people want to help? Put yes, I want to help in the chat pane, or no, I don't want to help. And whoever says, no, I don't want to help, kick them out of the webinar, Pietro, because we only want to work with people who want to help. All right.
All people want to want.
Of course. It's a setup question. Everybody wants to help because you want to be helped. You want your family to be helped, right? And that's the way we do it in 2017. But the reason we speak worldwide, the reason why thousands of, tens of thousands, millions of people are moving towards inbound is because, number one, it's the right thing to do. Number two, it's a great business strategy. Number three, the traditional or outbound selling isn't very effective. And inbound is very effective. Here's the best thing. I can prove it. We can send you all these case studies of people who've been practicing inbound marketing and all of these different countries that are killing it, because unless something replaces the internet or social media, right, you have to be optimizing your content and your website to make it happen. All right, I just have a few minutes. So Pietro, you've been a great co-host. I love it. Very, very good. You're good at interrupting professionally. You're good at pronouncing schmarketing in 3 foreign languages. And you're good at making me paste. Do I have a couple of minutes to do free gifts?
Of course.
Boom. So the first one is, how many people are familiar with artificial intelligence? Put in the chat pane, yes, artificial intelligence, no artificial intelligence, right? So HubSpot has a free sales bot, right? You go to Facebook Messenger or Slack and you type in growth bot. You can do it right now. And it's the chat bot for marketing and sales, right? And it will show you all these things. It's completely free. You can use it. You can give it to your clients. Pietro, you can use it. It will give you all of this great information.
I already use it.
You use it? What do you use it for?
A Growbot, especially for comics of the week.
Exactly. Comments of the week. All right. So they have a little humor. It's not as funny as me. They don't have Mayan and Mayan apocalypse, but it's probably better than these are terrible puns. I got that. All right. Number 2, how many people are familiar with HubSpot Academy? Put in the chat pane if you know HubSpot Academy. Right? Just Google it. HubSpot has free training. It's all online. You don't have to fly to Boston or Dublin or Berlin. We just opened a Berlin office. You can do it all online. And you can get marketers. You can get inbound marketing certified. It is great. Salespeople, you can get inbound sales certified. It is great. It's also free. You don't have to pay us any money. Why would we give you free stuff to teach you how to do inbound? Right? Because we're practicing inbound. Right? The reason why we have grown very, very quickly is because we love helping people. Our co-founder, Dharmesh Shah, says it's the right thing to do for humanity. So my buddy Mark Killens runs the academy, and we give away 8 free certifications. Do you have to pay a lot of money? No, they're free. Can you take them at your own pace? Sure. Do you have to fly anywhere to get them? No. And the benefit is if you become inbound marketing or inbound sales certified, right, you there's a whole range of new opportunities that open for you, right? And then finally, for those of you who don't have a CRM, for those of you who use HubSpot CRM, that's great. Thank you very much. For the people who need a CRM, our CRM is free. So just Google HubSpot CRM, you download it, and you're off and running. And we offer training classes on how to use the CRM so that you can don't have to manage your clients in a spreadsheet, which is super annoying and not the best way to do it in 2017. All right, these are my 400 ebooks. I've got an ebook on everything. In fact, Pietro, when we send this out, we'll send a link to the marketing library. There's an ebook here on the Pocket Guide to Writing Well. We've got the 160 free business themed stock photos. We've got a blog editorial calendar. We've got 50 customized calls to actions. All this stuff we give away for you free, whether you're a HubSpot customer or not. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Why? We want to help marketers and salespeople and business executives and everybody who's trying to scale their business. Why? It's tough out there. It's easy to get frustrated, but inbound is better, right? And we are on a mission to end the cold calling and spam and helping people grow their business. All right. So the goal is inbound for everyone, everywhere. Boom. And sometimes people ask, what is HubSpot? HubSpot is software, service, support, and tools that help you scale, right? And we are all in to help you any way we can. HubSpot has products that start at free, right? We have a free marketing product. We have a free sales product. We have a free CRM. We have all those ebooks. We give away all that stuff for a couple of reasons. Number one, we want you to get better. And number two, it's a great way for us to grow our business because people start using our product very, very early and they continue to grow and develop their business. Boom! What do you think, Pietro? How did I do?
Awesome.
I like it. Rate me on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst webinar you've attended, 10 being the best webinar you've ever attended in all of Eastern Europe.
11.
People have to put that in the chat pane. I want to make sure that we get lots of votes for how good that was. All right, so we have 4 minutes and I'll take questions. But number one, Ross and Pietro, thank you very much for allowing me to spend an hour with people in Eastern Europe. Super excited about it. I hope I didn't talk too fast. Did I talk too fast?
No.
Was I too excitable?
Not at all.
And the only ask I have is that if you can just put something on social media or Facebook about the CallPage Sales Day, these guys have done a great job. There were thousands of people who attended these sessions, and they did it because they have the inbound philosophy. And I did it because they asked me to do it, and I like to do nice things for nice people. Just my small ask is just put a social media mention at Dan Tyre or Dan Tyre 1 or connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me personally. Or what do you want them to tweet out? CallPage?
Yeah.
Okay, CallPage. And what's the Twitter address?
CallPage.io. So
Boom.
This is pretty simple.
Nice.
I write to guys to you on the chat, so don't worry.
I love it. All right. And now we've got 3 minutes left before I jump to my next call. So I'm happy to take 3 minutes of questions.
So guys, if you have any other questions, just please to ask. Can you blend both inbound and outbound strategies?
Of course. Of course. That's a great, who asked that?
This is from Stefan.
Stefan, very, very smart. Of course you can. And you have to. Because lots of people are not quite understanding inbound, so that it's kind of a transition. So absolutely, lots of people who practice inbound say, "No, Tyre, I still have to practice outbound because I need the leads today." And remember, in 2017, you're cycling in to practice inbound. It takes a little bit of time to get to the front of the Google search, right? You're not going to be on the first page of Google in like 3 days. So yes, there's plenty of options to transition, and we're happy to do that.
Okay, and maybe the question from Keith: How do I get started with email?
Okay, so what Pietro is going to do is he's going to, when he sends out the recap, he's going to send you a request for an inbound marketing assessment. And that
also, I will write this just on the chat, so guys, you even just click now. So
oh, nice. Okay, very, very good. See that? Not only are you funny, not only are you multilingual, but you're like feeding conversions right into the chat bin. Very, very nice. Yes, and then one of our inbound growth specialists will cycle in. They'll do a quick evaluation of your website. They'll give you a few things that they can help you with, and then they'll tell you the next steps. Right? Sometimes it's to start with our free products. Sometimes it's to start with our paid products. Sometimes it's just to start with the CRM. Sometimes it's get inbound certified. There's a variety of ways to go, but we want to make sure that folks are starting at the right place for the size and the sophistication of their company, so they can ultimately generate leads and customers.
Sure. So I think we are done today. So thank you, Dan, for this awesome.
Woo!
I saw that even 12 in scale 1 to 10.
I love it. 12. That's the best rating I've ever gotten for Eastern Europe. So thank you very much for inviting me, and look forward to connecting with many of our webinar folks.
Exactly. So thank you guys for this webinar series. We have been since 6 hours. So this is how we are doing sprints. Work hard and make this fun.
Oh, I'm getting lots of people on LinkedIn connecting with me. Flavian, Tim, thank you very much. Unar, very good. Robert, very good. Seren, very good. Oh, baby, this is going to be great.
Great. So thank you all guys for coming, and thank you, Dan, for this awesome presentation.
You're welcome.
Bye.